GM Farcaster. You are here with Nownish Prof and Adrian for 29 minutes. Oh my goodness, I went back in time. 29 minutes of Farcaster news to start your day. And we are running a smidge behind today. We had some technical difficulties getting started today. And I'm just getting back from vacation and I'm still settling in. But that's why I have my nice lighting and angles back, which makes me very happy.
Gorgeous.
Thank God. You can go back and compare like today to like 2 days ago and you'll see the difference. Oh my God. I'm so happy to be back in my regular little spot. And how are you this morning?
You forgot to say today is
Wednesday, July 10th. I am really off kilter. I'm off kilter. I'm trying to get, I am so off kilter that I am pulling a Cassie at the moment and drinking Bang. Like that's like how much caffeine I need this morning because I am just, yeah, that's the level we're at today.
Apologies to everyone who was waiting in on Lonely because we were a few minutes late this morning. We are there now, but
we are there now. We promise.
Also live on YouTube and X, so just you'll find
all
us.
The places where you can find us.
We appreciate you.
And I didn't even log into our chat, so I'm logging into our chat now too. Jeez, it's been that we're already. I just did GN and instead of GM. That's really good. I said bye-bye before I said hello. This is where we're at today, people. Sorry. But we have lots to talk about. I feel like it's been a very busy few days.
We really do.
Really interesting things happening. And I think we might have to play Chocolate Rain at some point, but we'll discuss that in just a minute.
I can't wait to talk about Chocolate Rain.
I know. But first, before we go there, we have some updates. We have lots of things happening. They've been shipping like crazy. So let's talk about reduced storage limits. There's an FIP that is up. Wazi-Mandia's proposal is up for review. It reduces the number of casts, links, and reactions per storage unit to help hubs scale. So this was from Varun, and there's it's a little bit of controversy, a little bit of people getting a little upset. So this is from Dan as well. I use all my reaction storage, but very little of my cast storage. Can storage units be flexible? I've often thought this as well. Flexible storage units are very tricky to implement with a good UX. There are many problems, but the most pressing one is what to do when you've exceeded the limit and send a new message. The only solution with our eventually consistent network is to prune the oldest message irrespective of type. This means that if you run out of space and like something, the first person you followed may get unfollowed, which is really bad. There is no easy solution to this problem, which that makes a lot of sense. I would much rather my likes disappear than somebody I'm following or a cast or something like that. So
yes,
I am in no danger of losing anything in terms of casts and follows at this point because I have like 4 storage units, I think. But I am always out of likes. I'm always out of likes because I like liberally. So there you go.
But does it bother you when likes get pruned? Like, are you inclined to buy more storage? No, it's like
no. I don't care.
It is funny. I'll go to search like an old cast and then you'll see how few likes it has. And I was like, oh, I thought that was a good one though.
I thought that was a banger. Oh,
I thought people liked it. I think I need to buy myself.
They did at the time. Storage. They really did. They really did at the time.
I appreciate V's transparency. Obviously, no one likes to pay for something and then feel like you get shrinkflation and you're getting less, you're getting less of something for what you already paid for. There's one fundamental question I have about this whole storage conversation.
And it is.
And I don't have the answer. I don't think you will have the answer. I would love
to will not.
have an open invitation for someone who
has the answer.
Please put it. Come on our show and explain it to me. Or I could spend the time actually reading the docs and get the answer for myself. But
there's that option.
So this has come up a lot, which is like, how much do we want to charge for storage? And but what I want to understand is, forgetting about the price of storage and these units, how do at any price, how are hubs going to scale? We're like a tiny fraction of what the network size needs to be at to reach product market fit and for it to be kind of at scale. So what if there were 10x, 100x? Thank you, yes to crypto.
Thanks, yes to crypto.
1,000x, like orders of magnitude more people. Okay, so who cares? It's just at what point, right? Like, so take the price
out.
I
think like what you're like understanding more about scaling and hubs is really what we're and that might be maybe we grab V and see if he can pop on and talk a little bit about that, or somebody from the team who's focusing on that part of it. Could be get Wazi, could get Wazimandias, because it's his the
beauty is it doesn't even someone on the team, because
it's true.
Maybe someone from Nanar, maybe Rish or Manan will come, and or any of the devs who understand. Like, it's just, or someone who's actually read the doc. Just someone.
Somebody.
I'm so lazy.
Yeah. It could be. Well, I'm saying, it could be. We could have Wazi come on and talk about the FIP and explain that part a little more too. So we will. We'll figure that out, because I do think that's a good idea to get a little bit more information about how hubs scale. And
a little bit of the, like, I think we're gonna talk about this later, because I saw you pull a cast, but how many of us are making big bets on Farcaster in terms of building businesses, building your presence, investing time and energy. So I want to know that the network can scale.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is related to from Dan. Please spread the word. There are 0 economic rewards currently or in the future for running a hub. Only run a hub if you find it fun, find it useful for your project or your business. There's no surprise or gotcha that comes later. All of the YouTube video tutorials are lying to you about a potential reward. So there was a point at which the hubs were getting a reward, but that was very, very early on. But at this point, that is not the case and will not be the case in the future. So, by the way, I loved your note here.
Do you like my background?
I love your background. And also, I loved your note here. We'll add to our important announcements on GM Farcaster. See also, warps do not fluctuate in value. There is no Farcaster token, cast in channels, and I can't see the last one. I think there was one.
No, that's it.
Oh, that was it. Cast in channels. That was
it's Dan's greatest hits.
Yeah, the greatest hits. We'll just repeating those again, just in case you had missed them. And this was all related to hub release 1.13.6. In addition to bug fixes and quality of life improvements, please note there are no rewards for running a hub. We recommend running hubs if you're building an app, need access to the latest data, and want to help decentralize the network. And there is the hub mono repo there for all the information that you might need if you are running a hub. But I think that's a great reminder, because I think there's a lot of folks who get confused about that as to, and we had actually asked, I asked somebody, maybe it was Rish, when we had Rish on, about like, why is there any reason for us to run a hub? And he was like, no. I was like, I didn't think so. I'm like, I didn't think so. Because it seems like
a year ago, or like a year and a half ago, I remember early on, early days, pre-permissionless, there was probably only a handful of hubs running, and they were actually trying to get more people to run them, as a way to just harden it, test it. It wasn't even that necessary. And I was like, oh, maybe I want to figure out how to run one, just as a way to kind of good faith contribute to the network and learn. And I never did. So now I don't need to. Thanks, Dan.
And I understand, like, definitely early on, it made a little more sense. There were reasons to do it. You're helping out. You want to see how it works, all those kinds of things. And we have some people who just, want to contribute, but there's not going to be an economic incentive. So please do not think there is.
And you cannot control the internet. So there are a bunch of YouTube tutorials out out
about Farcaster, saying run a hub.
Farcaster, telling people, it's kind of like similar like degen farming. It was, here's something you should do. You should go run a hub, invest this much money on this hardware infrastructure to do it, because you will, because for future reward. So
Yeah.
all of a sudden, they're
token.
seeing a bunch of hubs spinning up.
Yeah, there was a whole, and that caused some instability too. There were problems because they did that. There were some that was causing some of the issues a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, don't do that. That goes in the don't do this channel.
Yes, and the problem is there are still. By the way, shout out to Doing Numbers. That's Martin Six and Woj's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Their last episode, they did do a deep dive on hubs, and Woj being a developer and has a little more insight than either
and
of
a reason
us have.
He has many reasons to run hubs.
Yeah.
So with Supercast,
the thing is, though, here's what's dangerous: is you have Dan saying there is no Farcaster token, there is no economic reward for running a hub. Like, I am not paying creators. I am not just. I don't know how many times he can say it. And on any given podcast, on any given group chat, including ours, someone will say, well, you never know. There could be a future reward. There may be
speculating.
and airdrop. And these are good faith people who, combined with not even bad faith, but just the chaos people who like to make the jokes about airdrops. So it's very
people who may not understand the sarcasm. Yeah. Sarcasm might get lost. You didn't use the sarcasm font. They didn't understand. So we're making this very clear at this time and in the future. There is no chance there may be a reward. Stop it, like, stop it. There may not be a reward. There will not be a reward. Do not run a hub unless you need it for a technical reason. Let's say that and just leave it there. All right, moving on. In relation to this, we had some other updates. So you're saying there's a chance. You're saying there's absolutely no chance. Don't do that. Some quality of life improvements for search. Type in channels. I'm sorry. I don't even know what those are called. Channel, bracket, but that's not bracket. It's the less sign, greater sign. To find casts with hello in that channel. Type from and then hello to find casts with hello from that user. So if you're searching, obviously you may not be searching hello because we don't say hello. We say GM, people. You could type in GM. That would make you a little crazy, but you could find it. So this is a better way to search within the data. So searching by username used to work before, but it's a lot more resilient to missing .eths in the username. Other minor changes that should make it easier to find the right casts. So a little bit of improvement for search because this can be tricky. And I just want to shout out, I didn't pull Buoy or Boy, whatever you want to call it. I call it Buoy. Really helpful. Really helpful for searching through and giving you notifications for various things, but especially channels. So when people are typing in your channel name, like /GM Farcaster, I have a search there and I pick up things all the time that I completely miss. So appreciate you. P-Fista. And the chat, you guys are funny. I saw that for Academy. So moving on. Improvement for Warpcast Web DC Composer autocomplete will only show users in the chat. If you keep typing a username, will indicate that the user isn't in the group. Fuzzy search by username and display name, keyboard shortcuts, up and down arrows, improved full width design. So much better. Some nice improvements there. Always good because they're kind of hard to manage. And I know they're always trying to improve to compete with things like Telegram that I know a lot of people are still using in place of the Warpcast chats.
Are you familiar with the term fuzzy search?
I know it's some kind of, isn't it like fuzzy logic as opposed to Boolean logic, I think?
I don't know. I've actually never heard the term before.
I think it's it's an actual technical term, I believe. It's fuzzy logic search as opposed to, do you know what Boolean logic search is? I'm dating myself tremendously at this moment.
I mean, I know what a Boolean is.
Okay. So Boolean logic search of like certain ways that you use the parentheses and stuff like that to search in a database. I think fuzzy logic search is just is a less, it's an easier,
to do,
better way
to
search
post about search and fuzzy.
Yeah, now we got to go check it out. I could be completely wrong and making this up, but I think that's what it is. I think so. Also from Dan,
approximate string. I'm, researching this on the fly. Sure. Fuzzy search does approximate string matching. All right, I'm going to go school myself on this later.
I think it's
I need to know everything about everything.
It's a different type of search, like technical term. This was related to spam. So there was a poll. He did a poll, and actually it has changed. So I'm going to bring it up. Do you consider replies to tips spam? I answered sometimes. I don't know if it should just give me the replies, the answers here. And at one point, this was, I think, even higher, where always was coming up about 50%, but it's pretty significant. Always and sometimes are winning this by quite a bit. And Dan's point was 50% of people think tips are spammy sometimes, 10 always. This number has changed a little bit. Wonder if there's a better convention that allows Farcaster clients to better classify and collapse tips into a more useful UX for those that want to see them and hidden for those that don't want to see them. And I think Links had a really good point here. Tips were always meant to grab mind share via visibility. Any mechanism to reduce visibility will reduce usage. This means the goals of leaders of tipping communities are at odds with non-tippers. To be honest, I think mute words are the best solution to allow these groups to coexist. Most people won't do the work for mute. They churn silently. So this is the discussion here. Is do you hide? And then this was his point for those saying just mute. Consumer products work at scale because of smart defaults. So, do you think that we need a UX change that will better hide tipping replies, or is there a better option? I think this is a great point from Yes to Crypto. Client side, don't show tips toggle might be the way, instead of, and I think that might be the direction they end up going, and that I think would solve the problem. But it's similar to mute, but it's gonna, definitely depends on the user. Like I don't mind the tip stuff. It does not bother me. The AI replies bother me a lot more.
I'm going to go to war with those AI bots. What are they doing? Get out of my feed.
Get out of my feed.
I never want to see you again.
I mean, I appreciate that sometimes they're very nice and friendly. It was really funny when I started to see them. I was seeing them in like the Nouns channel, and I got a reply that was just so gracious and nice. I knew it could not possibly be real in that channel. So love you. Just kidding. Like there's no way people in a DAO are being this nice to each other. So I don't know. Tips to me doesn't bother me definitely as much as other spammy replies, for sure.
I built some immunity up to just ignoring it. I don't enjoy necessarily seeing it. I've been doing my tips with content as well. Like I rarely just do the tip. If it's just the tip, I don't want to see it. If it's a tip to me, it's like if you're tipping me, it's not spam. If you're tipping someone else, it's spam.
That's the bottom line. Well, also I want to say thanks. Yeah. So it's really not spam. I do want to say thank you.
I appreciate, like, I love the cast action to give someone warps. I've been bringing that back. So if you're getting 10 cents worth of warps from me, I know it might not be as valuable as the degen tips, but it's easier and fun.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we got to start to boogie through here now. We had this from Dan, looking for feedback from cast composer action developers. What do you wish was better about this page? Examples of other places that do discovery well. And this was the Discover Actions page. And I do think that's a bit of an issue right now, is I don't even know what we can use as actions. So I'm not looking to replace anything unless something comes across my feed. So I don't even know what's out there. So I think that would be super helpful. This from Rachel, this was very cool. So Dan had posted about wanting to know about 501c3s. and wanting to do a little bit of an experiment, was going to send 100 USDC to a couple that posted, and a few different people posted. And this one was Rachel had posted Wave Warriors, which, by the way, Brock the Bread Cat, has created a really cool on-chain fundraising frame. And they were also doing some things with tips for that. So this was very cool. Okay, this is awesome. Thanks to DWR for giving Wave Warriors some funds and love. We appreciate it so much. Wave Warriors is doing incredible work, and Breadcat and I have been working closely with them to develop levers on on-chain fundraising. We're aiming to onboard 25 nonprofits to Farcaster by the end of July. How cool is that? You can learn more about our mission at sendhalp, halp.xyz. So that's send halp.xyz or /halp. So I think this is really cool. This was all part of this that he was looking to see if looking for anyone who runs a 501c3 that's willing to set up a Farcaster profile, connect to Ethereum address, accept donations in USDC on Base via pay on Warpcast. So that was the requirements he was looking for. And by the way, did anyone catch how I just said Farcaster? Yeah, my Boston accent is going to slide in there because I've been there for 10 days. I heard it. And usually I don't even catch it. So I did hear it. I sounded like Mike Rainbow on that pod, on the Moss pod, talking about podcast stuff. All right. But that's really cool. So that's exciting to see. This was also exciting to see. Excited to welcome Gabriel ETH to the team. So update from Gabriel. I've been meaning to write a post about this, but I haven't given myself the time to do so. Therefore, I'll share it quickly in a cast. Yesterday was my first day working full-time on Warpcast at Merkel Manufactory. Farcaster is directionally how I want the decentralized web to evolve. And Gabriel, we both have met Gabriel at FarCon last year. He was at Google for more than 10 years, more than a decade. Really great dev. And he's also building a Nouns client, which that is still on track, and he's still working on that as well. So very cool.
Was so happy to see this. Gabriel, congratulations. Yeah, he was at Google and he was working on like some crypto stuff and Web3 work at Google in like a lab. And he was very, very happy. We met him at FarCon, the beta in Boston. Yeah. And then Google kind of pulled the rug on those projects. And he's blogged about just kind of trying to follow his passion. He left Google a few months ago and he realized he really wanted to be full-time back in this space. So makes me so happy to see the good people working on good projects. So congratulations to Merkel, because I think you got a good one.
Exactly. Congratulations to Merkel. Never mind Gabriel. Congratulations, Merkel. This from Matthew. This is exciting. So you should have seen, if you updated your mobile app, that you have a new composer action. You have bounties now, Ponder, and you also have events. So I'm excited to finally share the new release of Eventcaster. Full update list below. But TLDR, 10x better event creation flow, faster, simpler, cleaner event frame, composer action, make events right in Warpcast, a new Events.xyz, seeing what your friends are going to. So much simpler. Also, what's coming this week, but I don't think it's out yet. I think it's the end of this week. You're going to have a way to get notifications about any events for a channel. So this is going to save us from Luma, who messed us up. So if you're wondering why you're no longer getting any notifications from us about new shows, you now have to sign up for each individual episode. It didn't used to work like that, but they took away our option. So we've been waiting for a new solution, and this will be it. So very soon, very excited to have this option. You can also easily add all Eventcaster RSVPs to your calendar right from a frame. Tap below, pick Apple or Google, and RSVP to events right from your feed. Events add plus update in your calendar automatically, which is fantastic. So that's going to be the calendar subscription. And a little bit, one more thing, POAP and Farcaster events. Let me know if you want to turn it on for your next event. So it now has an integration where you'll be able to drop, as I believe the way it'll happen is you'll have to note who actually came, I think, to the event, not just who RSVP'd. So there might be some kind of check-in requirement, and then that POAP will drop directly to them, which is very cool. So there
you saying
go.
POAP guy doesn't show up at my event?
I know. Wouldn't that be sad? So Evan, we can't live without that. That's just
I was
not.
kind of just hoping if I turn on POAP, Evan shows up at the door. I love you, Evan.
That would be phenomenal. That would be really funny. You just turn it on, and it'd be really funny. You're doing a virtual event, and Evan shows up like at your home. Just here you go with this little.
So yeah, by the way, if you're somewhat new to Farcaster and you don't know about events or what Matthew's been building, definitely check it out. There are so many people building Farcaster clients, which tend to be, a slightly different version of Warpcast. Events to me is one of those different categories. It's not a social feed. But it is natively built on top of Farcaster or integrated into the social graph. So I'm kind of obsessed with seeing all the applications of other non-social media apps that natively use the graph. So all of a sudden being able to auto approve people you're following and I think I'm got really excited to see this.
Love this. Yeah, to get totally love this. Lots of fun. And I am going to shout out my friend Cardno as well. Cardno, we'd be happy to see you at the door as well. He mostly does the European events. He's at HCC right now doing his thing.
I've never been to a crypto European event, so I have not.
I haven't either. So
let's go.
I know, one of these days. This from Jacek. So this is some big news. Hey degens, we've just released the degen vault. Lock your tokens now to receive a tip allowance starting July 11th. Lock at least 10K degen for 3 months. Add funds anytime, but the 90-day lockup resets with each deposit. Tip allowances are proportional to your locked amount. Hold 1% of the pool, get 1% of the daily tip allowance, etc. Max tip allowance 10K degen daily. We've reserved 500K degen for boosts for the top 5,000 open rank users. Start locking up degen now and get ready for your tip allowance on Thursday. So, little different. It's definitely going to be we'll see what happens. Don't lock up everything yet. You'll see this note down here. Make sure you keep at least 10K degen in your wallet until the snapshot tomorrow, because which should be today actually, because they're still finishing up season 5 tips. So Jacek is always iterating on this whole process and trying new things, and I really appreciate that. So this is something new, and this also is a way to get people to be holding, sort of staking, if you will, to keep more stability within the degen community. So there you go. So that's exciting. This from Tay Zonde. Just made the same. This is going to, my laughing will make sense in a second. I just made the same post on Farcaster, 184 followers at the time of the post, Facebook 67,000, and Threads over 5,000. After 1 to 2 hours, Farcaster 8 replies, 24 likes, Facebook 4 likes, Threads 5 likes. My actual reach on those platforms is just the tip of the Zuckerberg, which I think is, I loved that term a little bit. And this was the post, by the way. Oops. Oh, I lost it. Oh, shoot. He was posting, he had a picture of he mistakenly brushed his teeth with cortisone itch cream. And then we had, in related news from 6, I don't know what chocolate rain is. And at this point, I'm too afraid to ask. Okay. And then he said the horse facts. Let the boomers have this one. So I thought about showing the song, playing the song on the show, but I'm not going to do that to you all. You're going to have to go do that on your own, because it will get stuck in your head. But Tay Zonde had in 2007 had the viral song of the summer. I do recommend you go search Chocolate Rain on YouTube and look at it, but I don't want to be responsible for the getting it stuck in your brain. So not going to do it. But I did think it was very interesting that somebody who is not in crypto, who has extensive followings. Like if you go look at YouTube, that's a whole different level. And I think Instagram as well. He has a much higher follow rate there. So has extensive experience on social media, can already see the difference with Farcaster. And I think that's really, really interesting. So thoughts?
In 2007,
Yeah.
where were you?
Where was I? I had just gotten married and was probably, I don't know, a couple months pregnant by the time this song came out, something like that. So that's
do you have
where
a
I was.
memory of? Do you have a memory of the summer when the song came out? No. Okay.
I have a memory of the summer, but I don't have a memory of the song that summer. No, not at all.
Okay.
So I had to go back and look at it. But when I went and looked at it, I did recall it. It was familiar. I was like, oh, okay, this one. Yeah.
Well, I'm in JC's and Six's camp, which is like, I lived under a rock. I had never heard this. Like this song never once crossed into my bubble of the internet and corner. And I just love constantly being reminded of how many like infinite number of like crazy internet celebrities there are that have millions of views and followers, and yet there are also just as many people who have never heard of you. And
yeah, totally.
Unlike Six and JC, I did not admit to not knowing on the feed because I wanted to appear smart and cultured, so I pretended to know.
That's so funny. By the way, I did like this note because Pugson asked him how he ended up on Farcaster. And that's Ryan. That was our friend who popped on to talk about the Shibuya game way back when. Mentioned Farcaster to me when corresponding about a charity he built. That was 4 days ago and the first time I'd heard of it. So that's crazy. Like, so this good onboarding. Very cool. Very good onboarding. Interesting process. So yeah, it is very cool. And I do think that Dan probably knew exactly who it was because it was he was like a college age. So that would make sense.
Yeah. It's a millennial. It's a millennial thing, an elder millennial thing.
We're too old to really remember it. A couple more things, and I know we're running long. I'm sorry. Just a couple more interesting things. This was from Brian. Brian got a little, Brian-y the other day. Another day of building in DWR's playground and keeping him happy. Some tips: use the features he makes, post into channels. No bad vibes about Farcaster. Don't mention CCP. I think I missed something. Don't mention Solana or anything non-EVM based. In exchange, you get solid distribution. LOL. First two are good advice from DWR. And then Brian went on to say, this might be my last cast as I'm currently talking to DWR and he's thinking of permabanning me from Warpcast. If you never hear from me again, you know what happened. Update: after threatening to nuke every single Farcaster hub, DWR has reluctantly allowed me to keep my account. This is all sarcasm. Please do not think that he actually threatened to do that or had the ability to. So I'm not exactly sure what happened. Did he get a cast pulled down or what happened? Because I missed something. I feel like I missed something.
Okay. Nothing happened. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I don't think there was anything we missed.
So it was just Brian being Brian-y. Okay. Fair. So anyway, but I did say, this was going to be, maybe this would be the time when the thesis would actually be happening.
Yes, but the prophecy.
No, the prophecy. And it's not happening. So
the Farcaster prophecy is someone on Farcaster needs to get banned from Warpcast. So we can test the thesis that you don't need Warpcast. Right. We need to test this decentralized permissionless thesis that you can be banned on one platform and create a following and still communicate elsewhere. And Dan, on episode 100 at FarCon, Dan, I asked him when that would happen, when that Farcaster thesis would be tested. I just want to know a date because I think there's still a lot more infrastructure and building to be done before it happens. Yes, I'm guessing it's like whatever. It's 2 years out, maybe. He didn't give me a date, but he did say it will be Brian.
It would be Brian. It would be Brian. So we thought it was coming through, true, but it was not. Related. this is interesting as well. So I watched the BeavChris and Barthead show the other day, yesterday, and they talked a lot about status as a service or freedom to dissent. And I highly recommend go watch it. And Art Lou, I believe, is going to be, or is, I don't know if he's definitely going to do it, but it sounded like he was going to do it, is going to leave Warpcast and only use other clients. I believe. Oh, Art Lou, you're in the chat. You can let us know if I'm correct on that. Was a really interesting discussion. I have to give it more thought on the status as a service part of it. I don't see it in that way, but I think there are some interesting points to it. Meaning that Farcaster is status as a service rather than a true social network. What do you think? That's how I took it.
All social networks are status as a service, though.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Or prove me wrong and show me one that isn't. So anything that's social is inherently status oriented. And I don't know. So Eugene Wei has a blog post. He wrote the original status as a service blog post that talked about social media as status as a service. It is long. It is worth a read.
Okay.
And I think even in Farcaster, I mean, tends to be full of self-proclaimed nerds.
Yeah.
And not just self-proclaimed, people call us nerds as well.
Yeah, so, I think it's self-proclaimed and valid and valid.
and valid.
I see it as Revenge of the Nerds, but okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And we all tell ourselves we're not playing status games. Do we all? I do. I'm like, oh, I'm above stat. The truth is, I mean, that's bullshit in itself, because this nice article will burst that bubble if you think you're not playing status games. Is like status games are completely inescapable. So even saying I don't play status games is another way of achieving status. So,
and I think that was part of what I was thinking about. Like, I had never set out on any platform, any social media platform, of like, I need to have, 1 million followers, and I need to, you know what I mean? And I don't do it specifically to try and grow my numbers and that kind of thing. And especially on here, it's been very organic for me, of like, I am organically and, authentically, I think is the best word, replying. I'm only replying to things, like, I don't waste my time. And a lot of people do this, but I don't waste my time replying just to reply. Right. I love the reply guys, but I love the ones who are authentic. I think the ones who are authentic really, that to me is the key. So that's, I think, my pushback, but you're probably right. So I need to go read that article. We will drop that in the show notes. I'm going to go seek that out, and we'll pop it in the show notes.
And less about just social media, but just think about kind of humans as a, if you put your anthropologist hat on, or and study humans just as an animal species, that they're status seeking.
All right. We're going to have to dive into this a little more.
I think it's right. It was just status seeking monkeys. And but I'm with you. I mean, I am very much consciously not focusing on kind of internet clout and followers and trying to be as genuine as
it's not usually my thing. Like, I'm not looking for inorganic connections. Like, it's not helpful, I think, in the long run.
And it's why Farcaster is amazing, because it tends to be heavily populated with people who are similar.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why you can have genuine conversations, or, you see the things like what Tay Bonde was saying. Couple more quick things before, maybe these aren't quick. This was pretty cool. Active streaks. Do you still, this is my question to you. Do you still is your streak still active, or did it break?
I think it's active. When I restarted it in GM Farcaster. Is yours?
All right. Oh no, I lost mine like within. No.
But did you? Not my original streak.
No, my original streak. I didn't start a new one. A new one. I was like, I'm good. If I feel a need, I'll start it, but I'm not gonna, like, I did it just to like play around with the feature, but I knew I knew it would be something I wouldn't keep. What I'm seeing though at the top though are bots that have their streak. which is great. Okay.
Yeah. Good job, bots.
Good job, Bounty Bot. And then I do see, I think this is funny that Bitfloor Ghost is like the first non-bot, and it's a reply guy. So there you go. I thought that was funny. So very cool. And I think I'm going to push a few of these other things to to Friday, but one last thing I wanted to share was this from you. Finally catching up on, this was from me actually, but quoting you. Finally catching up on some writing hackathon reading, and want to encourage you all to give this one by Adrian a read and share it on Twitter or with someone you think would like Farcaster. Really captured the essence of why a lot of us are here. Q Dowing every day. This was Adrian's second submission for the writing hackathon, Why I Love Farcaster, my personal account of how and why I became a daily active user. And I highly recommend you go give this a read. I think this is a great one to share like with those Farcaster curious folks, because it really does capture the essence of, the positives of Farcaster. So just wanted to shout that out because it was fantastic.
Builder vibes and human connection.
Yeah, builder vibes and human connection. And I was going through and starting to read through the writing hackathon. I've been way behind on that, and they are amazing. So go into that channel, give them a read. It's pretty awesome. And that is it. Anything else that I missed that is urgent?
Well, thank you for joining us for 41 minutes of Farcaster news. And 0 US and 0 minutes of US
politics. 0 minutes of US politics.
My new tagline until November.
0 minutes.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. And that is it. We will be back. Actually, we'll be replaying this episode at 11:30. Vibe check will follow at 12:30. So check that out. And then we will be back on Friday, 8:30 a.m. live. So we will see you then, everybody. Bye-bye.